Hello, everyone, and welcome back to On the Bright Side. I'm your host, Caroline Susko. I hope you are having a great day, and if you're not, you came to the right place because I'm here to get you back on track, get you into that positivity time. Time? Yeah, time. So, before we even get started, if you're hearing this, this is very surprising because we have had so many troubles. Not we, I have had so many troubles trying to record this episode, and we will definitely get into it in this episode because you'll laugh. It's a good laugh. Actually, we have so much to cover today, so let me just tell you really quick. The room I usually go to record, it was too loud, and then I went back to my sorority house to record, and the fire alarms were going off. So then I went and recorded in my car, but then the sound wasn't working. And basically, I ended up recording this episode in my sorority bathroom, which is so super classy of me. But can we be honest? This would only happen to me, but it was funny. It made for a good story. And if you're listening to this, it obviously worked out. So it's all good. But anyway, so here's the rundown for today. So a while ago, I posted on my Instagram story and asked you guys to comment questions about navigating your 20s and all that. And so in an episode, I did all of that. But I did not answer one question that so many of you asked. And when I say so many, like 60% of the responses were this question. Like every scroll had that response somewhere in it. And not this question, this comment. And this comment was saying, help. I don't know how to navigate post-grad life and I don't know what to do. I'm scared. Help. Like, I don't know if I'm supposed to be getting a job. I don't know if I'm supposed to be living my best life. Like, what path should I be taking? Should I have a job lined up right out of college? Should I not be worrying about that right now? So I just want to say that first to ease your worries because so many people said it. And I was like, shoot, I really can't help you there because I'm 20 years old and still in college. But that's definitely a question we all have in the back of our minds and a worry or whatever. So I was like, what do I do? How do I help? Because you know me, I love helping. So I was trying to figure out what I could do. And then I had my little ding, ding, ding moment. And my ding, ding, ding moment was my friend group. So my friend group is made up of mainly seniors right now and people that graduated. And then there's a few people here and there in my grade. So being the baby in the friend group, I watch everyone grow up first. I watch them navigate the real world first. I watch them graduate first. I stay that extra year alone while they're not here, while they're navigating that real world. And yes, at times it is sucky being the baby of the group for a lot of reasons you guys can probably guess. That sounds really bad. No. For a lot of reasons, like, I don't know. But I was like, why not I just bring one of them on? And instead of me trying to talk about it, because I have no experience, how the hell would I talk about it? We'll bring someone on. So I asked my friend Max to come join me on the pod and help me help you guys with your worries about post-grad life and all of that. And I just thought Max was perfect for this because Max and I, on conversations like these, we just build off each other. Build. We're like, this. I don't know. We can get real really, really quick. So with that, let me welcome one of my best friends, Max, onto the pod.
Hey, yo. Thank you for having me. I'm honored to be here.
Of course. I'm glad you're here. I feel like we haven't talked in forever. So I'm glad we're doing this for everyone.
I'm so excited.
And I feel like this is going to be funny because you don't ever see me like put together serious. It's always my silly side. So this is going to be.
I know you got it in you.
And guys, we're doing this through the phone because Max is in his work week at his real big boy job. And so this is like really not the environment we're usually in. But I have a feeling I'm going to laugh when I'm not supposed to, but I'm going to try my best. So before we get into this episode of all this fun talk about navigating post-grad life, I feel like I have to make the PSA that even if you're not entering post-grad life, this advice is going to be relatable to everyday life. So definitely keep that in mind because it can help you in more than one way. So Max, before we get started into the episode, I start each episode off with something we're grateful for to like set the tone. So if you want to go first with something you're grateful for, go for it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Put you on the spot.
Put me on the spot, man.
Yeah.
All right. I think something I'm grateful for is my family and friends. I know that's very cliche, but having those resources at your fingertips, you can literally dial their number and get anything you need figured out, or any little piece of advice you're seeking. So I think that's definitely something I'm very happy to have in my life.
No, that's definitely similar to mine. I'm grateful for friends, especially at New Hampshire, because I came to college not thinking I needed any more friends. I was like, no, like this is like just for school. Like I didn't really care. Like I had all my friends I needed, I thought. So like to come to UNH and meet all you guys and we're all so close is everything to me.
It's the best.
It is the best. And then so for you guys listening, Max, we have to explain how we met. Do you want to explain or do you want me to?
You can explain. I'll add any details.
Okay. So one of my best friends was their neighbor, and I don't even know. So I feel like it was just because I was always at their house, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so one day they were outside and we were outside, and my friend already was friends with them. And I don't really know how to explain it. We just like very quickly clicked.
Well, it was like this is Carol, and then the next like 7 days in a row. I want to actually say it was probably like the next 3 weeks. We literally hung out as a group, like all together, every single night. And I think that's kind of how we all got so close. It was like just a sudden shock of friendship across the board, I think.
Yeah.
It made it that much better.
Even after you guys graduated, we hung out all summer too. Like literally the entire summer. I drove to them and then we drove other places, but I feel like we were together a good amount of the time.
What, you came to New Hampshire twice?
I think so, yeah.
I think you came to my house twice, probably.
I think so. Crazy. Yeah. But yeah, we were just inseparable. It was a very like quick click. And yeah. So first, how about you tell everyone a little about yourself, where you're living now, where you went to school and all that.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm Maxwell Chartier. You can call me Max, so if you ever see me out. But I'm 22.
If you ever see me out.
Yeah, I'm 22. I graduated from UNH this past spring. I'm living in Boston, Massachusetts now. I'm a financial analyst. Not very exciting, but yeah, that's kind of the rundown.
Yeah, he's in the big corporate world now, navigating through life. And I know a lot of you guys were worried about post-grad life and trying to navigate it. I feel like a lot of my listeners are senior in college, but again, it's like all over the place. But I know you guys were worried about that, and I didn't want to leave you hanging. And obviously, I can't address that because I'm still in college. But I was like, perfect. Perks to being the baby in the friend group is you have everyone. You have everyone to watch and learn from. So how about we get into the social part of post-grad life? Because I feel like that was the biggest part people wanted to hear. So if you want to jump into that and go for it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, first, congratulations, by the way.
Thank you.
Tremendous success with this. And I think it's incredible that you're able to, use your vulnerability of this couple years in college and turn it into something that other people can use as a resource. So I think that's wicked cool.
We are only 2 minutes in and Max is already getting inspirational.
You knew that was coming. You knew that.
But thank you.
Yes, you're very welcome, of course. Yeah, I mean, so I like to section my life, I feel like, into 3 pieces: professional, social, and mental. I think those are 3, pillars of a good life. So socially, this is something I adopted toward the end of college, something I wish I adopted much sooner, but say yes to everything kind of became my motto. Obviously in moderation, right? Don't get me, don't twist my words here. But, I think in college it's so important to say yes to the plans that unfold, because you really don't you'll never be in a scenario where you have that little responsibilities with like that many people that are just like you.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that, like you're in 5-10 years, you're not gonna be sitting on your couch and be like, I wish I sat in that night and watched TV. You're gonna wish
Mm-hmm.
that you went out and because you never know who you're gonna meet or what's gonna happen. And so I think just saying yes to if someone comes up to you and says, "Hey, you want to go out tonight?" If you don't have any like pressing issues or like nothing urgent due the next day, just do it. Like
Yeah.
forget everything and just say yes and be spontaneous, because I think that's you're gonna have a lot more fun doing that than whatever else you were gonna do.
Yeah, I feel like I have a problem with that. No, I don't feel like I do have a problem with that where I'm like, oh, I could be doing this, oh, I could be doing this. And then I look back and I'm like, oh, like we only have 4 years in college, and then it's just like real world, post grad and all that. So like I know you said this before, but you're like, just say yes to as many things as you can. Like when you were in school, you're like, Caroline, if there's one thing I could tell you, just say yes and go out and go do all that fun stuff like while you
Literally,
can.
because it like doesn't hit you until you literally have 2 weeks left of college, and you're literally like, it's not even like a motto anymore. Like everyone's just saying yes to everything, because in 2 weeks, in literally like 14 days, you're not going to be ever have college again. And like
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it didn't really set in for me until school ended and we were just waiting to graduate. And that like a little buffer period in between was like the
Mm-hmm.
period where I was like, damn, this doesn't last forever. And I really need to maximize the time I have left, even
Yeah.
though it's only like 2 weeks.
No, but like the last 2 weeks, how we were saying before, we were together like every day, all of us doing something like 24/7. And we were
Hmm.
up till like 4 a.m. outside, like all hanging out. Like there was not one moment where we weren't doing something
Right.
because
Because I
you're
think
like, oh,
everyone
when's the
was
next
sad that
time
the
we're going to
that
see
the
each
group was
other?
like breaking apart, like we just
Right.
we jumped into this like friend group suddenly, and then there was like 2-3 weeks left of
Mm-hmm.
school, and everyone was like, we have to do something every night. But that was the
Right.
best. Like I always say, like those were probably the best 3 weeks of my life thus far. I had so much fun. um
Yeah.
Physically, like my body was so exhausted just from like all the but no, I truly like that was like the best couple of weeks of my life so far. So yeah, so say yes to
Yeah.
everything. And I think branching off that, like put your phone down, right? Like I think it's so easy to get in a new situation, new environment with people you're not really super familiar with. And the minute like that first bit of awkwardness strikes, you just want to pick your phone up and bury your head in it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think that's not going to do you any good when you're trying to meet new people and whatnot. And you can apply this to post grad too. Like you're going to be living in a new city maybe, or you're going to be your scenery is going to change when you move back home or move to a city or whatnot. So just trying to maximize the amount of new people that you meet. Put your phone down.
Mm-hmm.
It really will go a long way. And your personal skills talking to people will get a lot better too. So.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Like when we get into an awkward situation, that's what I do. I just always go like right to my phone.
Oh
But
yeah,
like
me
then
too.
it's nice to have a conversation without people looking at their phones and just that because everyone's invested. So like even this right now, neither of us are on our phones. So that's why
Hmm.
it's just so much easier because it's like a real genuine conversation with no like hiccups.
Right. And like I know like if I'm talking to somebody and they pull out they're just looking down at their phone, I'm like,
Hmm.
okay, this person doesn't want to talk to me.
Yeah.
So that's like
And like
that's the perception. Even though you may like really want to talk to that person, I feel like that's the perception that it gives off automatically.
exactly. No, I totally agree. I agree.
Yeah, and I guess like these kind of all snowball off each other, but the next thing I was gonna say is when you're in like a social environment, you just kind of want to be you, especially in college. And I think we were talking about this a little bit earlier. But like your friends that are actually your true friends will come naturally. Like you just have to do you. And if someone's like not vibing with, the person that you are naturally, they're not going to
Hmm.
be with you in the end, right? So I think the reason why that group was the group that we built was so close knit was because like everyone was just goofing around. Like it was like 30-40 goofballs all just hanging out and nobody cared about anything. So I think that's kind of why I think the first day I met you, your head was in a bucket and you're doing that dumb thing that Yeah, so I just think like I was like, this group's awesome. Like I just met these people and I'm watching them like dunk their heads in a bucket. So
You're like, oh, this is the girl that had the crush on me for 2 weeks.
yeah, no, I'm saying like that's just like that's such an important it's such an important thing to just be like unconditionally yourself, because like then the people that actually like you for you will stick around, you know.
Mhm.
So I think after college, especially my experience being in a city, you don't want to be fake, because then if you start meeting people and they're like, this is the way this guy is, and then your true self comes out, they're gonna be like, wait a minute, this is weird. So I think
Yeah,
that's a big piece. Like when your scenery changes post grad, or even in college, like just try to be you, and you know your true friends will come naturally and effortlessly.
definitely. Yeah. We have to make it clear though. I wasn't like, we made it sound like I was drowning myself.
No, it was a we
It
were
was a
at,
dunkaroo, guys.
yeah, we were at some Darty or something, and it was something they were doing. It was a festivity. It was I didn't just like walk in on her like you know it's
Oh my God. Yeah, that was definitely one of the first times you met me.
yeah, I think it was like the second time or something.
But yeah, then going off of that, just to post grad, especially, I feel like it's all about experience too. I mean, I'm acting like I know what I'm talking about, but I don't. So if you want to go off from that, like experience and all that.
Yeah, no, yeah, you're right. So, I mean, like I said, like circling back, like you sitting in your apartment watching TV, let's say on a Saturday night,
Hmm.
because either like my excuse always was like, didn't want to spend money. Like, oh no, I'm gonna stay in tonight. I didn't want to spend money. And then like at the end of the night, when I go to bed, I'm like thinking to myself, oh, I really wish I went out. Like that looked like it'd been a good time.
Right.
And so
Hmm.
that just goes to the whole experience thing. End of your life, when you're telling your kids, like you don't want to have any regrets, right? Like you want to be able to
Hmm.
say like you live your life to the fullest and experienced all those fun things that college kids are able to experience. So
Hmm.
just like say yes to everything, put your phone down, and be you. Those are like my three like social pieces of
Thanks.
advice, and everything else will kind of fall into line.
Yeah. And like, I mean, if you have the money, I always say to like not to, I don't know. I always just think like, if you have the money, you're not going to look back like 5 years from now and be like, oh, I wish I had that $20. You're going to be like, oh, that was a good memory, you know?
Right. You work for your money so you can spend it, and you may
Hmm.
as well like have a good time while you're at it.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's just that like, it's just that happy medium of, because you know how people are like in their 20s, they're like, oh, the 20s is your time to like have fun, find yourself and all that. But then
Yeah.
there's other people saying like, oh, 20s is your time to get on that grind, get a job right after college and like get on that expected path.
Yeah. No, you're 100% right. I think
Hmm.
both of those points are very important. I mean, I think on obviously your 20s is that period where like obviously you don't have kids yet, right? You're just kind of navigating a life like with a bunch of other kids that are your age. Like at least in the beginning you're not living with a significant other, like you're living with people your age.
Hmm.
um but at that same time, that's the time like post grad that you want to like figure out what you want to do with your life. You don't have to know exactly, but you kind of want to set yourself up so you're in a good position.
Hmm.
So when you start getting into like 25, 26, 27, you kind of have an idea of what direction you want to move in.
Right.
So
Right.
it's all a balance. Like you want to maximize like your social experiences, but also you want to set yourself up like professionally, the best way that you can.
Yeah. And you have all your life for adulting and
Hmm.
financial crap and all that. Like take the time you have being young and like embrace it.
Absolutely.
So I know you moved to Boston, so from where we are, that's not that far. So like I'll still see you guys. But
Hmm.
how would you say you made more friends in a new place? Because yes, you had friends going with you, like some of them would be roommates, but yes, you still
Hmm.
made new friends. So
Yeah,
if
no,
you want.
that's a great question. So from my experience, it wasn't all like UNH people moving to Boston. It was a
Mhm.
whole like web of different friends and different connections, friends of friends and stuff like that, who all like kind of moved into the same area. And I think the easiest way to make friends was just becoming friends with friends of friends, if that makes any sense. So like
Mhm.
my brother who lives a minute down the road from me, his roommate went to Syracuse. And so we became friends with all his Syracuse friends. And like we've gone to house parties with all like people that are friends with those friends.
Yeah.
And you just have to show up and those people are automatically there. Like you don't have to put in much effort. I think the next way would be like going to the bars and just talking to people. Like don't be afraid to, have a group of people go up to another group and be like, hey, how long have you lived here? Stuff like that. It's important to, branch out and make new friends when you move to a new area, so you have people around you that you know. But I think those are probably the two best ways to make new friends in a new area.
Yeah. So how was social media when you got to Boston? Like, okay, so on social media, obviously you see everyone's best part of their lives and you're not seeing the other part. So how is that when you were moving to Boston?
I think that, if you're not in a job that's focused around social media, you kind of lose the time to, be that presence on social media. I think at least like the people that I've met, I don't even have on like Instagram or anything. I've been using those apps less. So I think they're like more genuine connections rather than like me searching someone up on Instagram and being like, oh, their life looks sick.
Right.
I think it's more genuine than it is in college.
Because I feel like in college, right, when you're getting to the school, you're really just trying to make friends with anyone because you want to fit in, like find your group.
Right. No, yeah, everyone's kind of over that once you move to the new city. And you don't meet people, you really don't meet people on apps because everyone kind of lives in different areas. You more meet people like through being with them physically. Whether you like meet them at the bar or you meet them at like a house party, like I said. So it's not like you're meeting someone on social media for the first time.
Right.
You're meeting them in person, so you kind of get to know them off the jump, which is a lot, which I like a lot better. But
so I feel like that brings us to mentally talking about post-grad and like your grad and your mental state. So if you want to hit on that, go for it.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is something I've been trying to get better at because I've always been not excellent at expressing my emotions to other people. I kind of bottle them up. But I think that it's important, I've come to learn, to not be afraid to communicate how you're feeling about anything, whether it be, your parents, your friends, your cousins, whoever it may be. But it's important to kind of get a second brain on whatever you may be going through, just to kind of pick at the parts that you're struggling with and try to find potential solutions. Don't be afraid of the emotions. Like your body's feeling it for a reason, right? You wouldn't be sad if there wasn't a reason behind it. Maybe you would but I think that talking through those and saying them out loud is something that is at least a start to trying to figure out what's the root cause of all of it,
Yeah. And just like not being afraid to communicate with people and like call your parents or call your friends, because most likely someone's going through it. Someone knows how you feel. Someone felt like that at some point, or someone will feel like that at some point. So just like having that option to call is
exactly.
Always good.
I was going to say, like, building off that, utilize your parents. At least for me, like, they're the most important people in my life. And I know everyone has different, scenarios, but I think that if you have someone in your life that's older than you, that has experienced more, and like you said, like someone who's been through more than you have, it's very important to pick that person's brain because they most likely have, a solution or something that could, that would relate to you to make you feel a little bit better. But I think parents specifically are very important to utilize because they're like your parent for a reason, and that's kind of what they're for. And you should take advantage of it while you can. So, and the other thing is, like, they want to hear from you. Like whenever I call my mom, I try to call her a couple times a week, but we talk for like an hour just about, just catching up. And I'm sure you're the same, but
I'm like once a day I'm calling my mom or dad.
Yeah. So even if there's not anything like pressing going on, I think it's important to just communicate with your parents and, because they want to hear about your life and I'm sure you want to hear about theirs as well.
Right. Yeah. And it's also kind of just like a good reset too, because it's not with the people you're with 24/7. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not. And if you have some like crap to get off your chest, it's not like it's going to like bite you in the butt later. Like it's your parents.
Yeah. They only want what's best for you. Right. Like you don't got to worry about anyone else or anyone that may be involved in what you're going through.
Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely think parents should have a big gold star next to them, and it
Moral
should
of
be
the
the top of your
story.
list.
Moral of the story, call your parents, guys. Pause it right now and call your parents
Call your mom, call your dad, call whoever, tell them you love them.
right now. I know. I mean, even like on top of my parents, like I'm always texting you guys and my guy, like just because you're older than me, it's
Hmm.
just like to have like a little, I don't know, like you've learned more than I have, you're older. It's just easier. It's like a big brother to go to.
Exactly. No, yeah, like I said, like anyone who's experienced more, like I have a cousin who's 25, anything that I may have that I don't really, that I'm kind of unsure about, he's my next bet. If, it's
Mm-hmm.
not something I can bring to my parents, he's my next
Mm-hmm.
bet who may have an idea of, a solution or something. So yeah, like you said, I mean, anyone who's older than you, who's experienced a little bit more could be a
Mm-hmm.
great resource as well.
Yeah. No, there was times where I was literally texting you about guys and I was like, Max, this guy's not talking.
Yeah.
The advice I just went for you for.
No, yeah, I love that. No, I love when people reach out. It's the
Yeah.
best. It makes you feel good. I'm sure people reach out to you,
Mm-hmm.
and I
Yeah.
and
No,
I know at least for me, it makes me feel good.
it does make you feel good. I know you were saying about trying to go on your phone list too. Like that definitely helps your mental state, especially like being in a new place, because even when you're on your phone, it's just things that sometimes you don't want to see and it contributes to it.
Hmm.
And it's like that change is already hard enough. Like, I mean, for me, college change, it was hard as hell for me.
Hmm.
But it's just like if you get off your phone for a little bit and go like try to do things, and I don't know, it's just easier when you're not seeing other people's lives and having them contribute to it.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I think that transition into college, especially with social media and everything, where everyone's trying to, make form little friend groups, and
Mm-hmm.
everything's so fabricated online, right? And
Right.
like you don't really even know somebody until you actually like hang out with them. And so I think if you can make it through that in college, it kind of goes off of what I was saying a little bit earlier. Like at post grad is so much more genuine. I feel like so if you can make it through like that little adjustment in college where everyone's kind of figuring out themselves, then you
Mm-hmm.
can literally make it through anything like in regards to social media.
Right.
But yeah, like being not utilizing your phone is just so like it's just worked magnitudes for me, like for my mental health and
Mm-hmm.
when I'm in like social settings and stuff like that.
Yeah. There's this thing I've definitely told you about this before, but for people that are listening, I was listening to this podcaster and she was like, when you wake up, don't go on your phone for an hour. And before you
Hmm.
go to bed, don't go on your phone for an hour. Because then it just like you set the intentions for your day and you don't let the notifications on your phone set
Hmm.
the intentions. So like if I don't know, you know what I'm saying? Like the less you're on it, it's just so much better.
No, yeah, I have a note on here that I was going to talk about. Like, I've been doing this lately. Is I wake up, and when it was nicer, I'd go on my back porch. Wouldn't even bring my phone at all. I'd
Mm-hmm.
go on my back porch. I'd make some breakfast, and I'd like read a book, or I would just like sit there and eat my
Mm-hmm.
breakfast. Like I would try
Yeah.
to not touch my phone for, like an hour is kind of hard when you got to jump on work, right? But
Mm-hmm.
like
Yeah.
even if it's like 15, 20 minutes, don't go on your phone. Like just try to, level set your head.
Mm-hmm.
Before bed is very hard. I don't know how people do that.
I
Like
don't know either.
I'm on my phone like right before I go to bed. So that's something I definitely can improve upon. But
I'm always just texting people right before I go to bed, and my like fingers are going to like the very last second I shut my eyes, which is so bad.
yeah,
But
no, I'm the same way. I close my eyes. I'm like, my eyes are burning.
no, and then someone will have to text me like, "Okay, I'm going to bed," before I'll actually go to bed.
Yeah.
You know what
Yeah.
I'm
No, yeah,
saying?
I do.
All right. Anything else on that one, or did we cover it?
I guess a little thing like I know it's easy like to get caught up in everything that you're doing, right? Like whether it be schoolwork or a passion that you may have
Mm-hmm.
or work, actual work. It's easy to get caught up and not give your brain that break that it needs.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's important to, if you're feeling like you're in a rut, to take a break and do something that you actually like thoroughly enjoy doing. I'm not saying that like what if you're working or your schoolwork you're not enjoying it, but do something that involves like very minimal brain power. So for me,
Mm-hmm.
like I'll go to the gym if I feel like I'm in like a rut, and I'll just like blast some music. Don't have to think about anything. I'm just like doing me. And
Right.
so I know it's not going to the gym for everybody, but like do something that you really thoroughly enjoy doing, and give your brain that break that it really needs, because I promise you, like when you go back to the task at hand, you're going to feel refreshed and you'll be able to tackle it.
And it's just easy because, I mean, you know me, I have so much freaking energy. So just to do something else and like burn it before I like actually go back and I'm like, okay, let me sit down and actually do this.
Yeah, no, yeah, it's so important. Like just move, or even it's just like go for a walk. Like what do they call, like a hot girl walk? Like do that. Like just walk
I go
around,
walk.
like walk around the block or whatever, and I'm sure you'll feel a lot better once you get back to your desk or whatever you were doing.
I love hot girl walks. I've been doing them every day I can. Like they're just, I don't know. I just love them. Okay. So now going into professionally, what do you have to say about that and advice for people post-grad?
I think it's important to start with being happy. Everyone, there's this overarching idea of like your job is like the death of you, and I think that it doesn't have to be that way. I think with whatever you do, like you need to be happy or you're going to absolutely hate your life. So find something you like and stick with that, because I think with that, then you'll truly be happy and you'll wake up excited to do what you want to do. And I think another little piece of that is like know what you're worth. So if you think that if you're at a job and they may not be treating you well, like you got to stick up for yourself and know what you're worth and have the strength to walk and try something else. So I think like before you can do anything else, like just I think being happy should be your priority when you're looking for a job and kind of trying to imagine yourself in different scenarios, like when you're still in college. And you're looking for a position post grad. So I think like that's kind of that should be your main goal, is seeing yourself and potentially like being happy when you're in a job.
I feel like people think also that you have to go in loving your job, and I mean I feel like it's not going to be rainbows and I don't know, whatever the saying is, I forget, but it's not going to be, it's not going to be that like right away. Like sometimes you may hate a job, but it like funnels you down to the job that you're going to love, like it's stepping points.
Yeah. Like everyone always says, like, at least in finance, you got to put the work in, like you got to grind in the beginning. It's not going to be the most like glorious work, like or glamorous work or whatever, but you're going to have to put the hours in order to reap the benefits of that, all that hard work, because down the line you'll be the guy 2-3 spots above where you're at now, and you'll be looking back and saying, I put all that work in and I'm here now. So like you said, like it's not going to be all rainbows and butterflies from the jump. Like you're going to have to put the work in and prove that you deserve to move up the ranks.
Yeah. And just, I don't know, normalizing that it's okay to not like your job from the beginning. The only reason I'm saying this is because yesterday in class, my teacher said the exact thing. So that's why this is where it's coming from.
No, yeah. So I think next, like if you're in college now, which you said most of those people are, right? I think it's important to understand, like, you don't have to figure out exactly what you want to do. I certainly didn't know what I wanted to do going into senior year, but I think part of the realization and something that had helped me a lot was using the resources that your school provides. I know this is like cliche, but I think that was sort of the most like pivotal. Those were some of the most pivotal things I attended in like narrowing down kind of what I wanted to do. So yeah, I would say overarching, like, put yourself in uncomfortable situations professionally.
Yeah.
Like the only way that you'll, understand, like, maybe this is something I want to do, maybe this is something I don't want to do, is going to job fairs, meeting with professionals in whatever, X industry, ask people to get coffee with you so you can, pick their brain about what they do day to day and stuff like that. I think that's super important when you're trying to narrow down, like, what exactly you want to do post grad. And there's no rush. I know your parents or whoever may be on your back saying, like, you better have a job or whatnot. Plenty of people I know, kind of took a little gap semester or half year after they graduated, just to kind of, sort through their life. And they had the ability to do that, which was nice. But I mean, even if you don't, I think you can get, any sort of job and kind of look for a more permanent job at the same time. So.
Yeah. And I feel like I mean, we all worry that we have to know. Even in college, I went in and I didn't know my major. I switched
Mm-hmm.
it multiple times because I didn't know what I was doing. And
Mm-hmm.
I have this major and it's just so broad that I'm like, oh, it's perfect. I still don't know what I want to do. And
Yeah.
I feel like by high school, everyone's like, oh my gosh, you need to know what you do, what path you're going down, which college, which like blah, 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 blah. But like it ends up changing so much.
Yeah. No, yeah,
Like
I
if
got friends who like graduated with like psychology degrees and they're in business now.
Mhm,
Like it really, like college, you're learning all these great skills, but it's how you apply them like post grad. And I
right.
think like jobs now, I mean, obviously they're hiring you like based off of, what you know and your experience, but I think a bigger piece even now is like who you are as a person. I think that holds a lot more weight in today's professional world than it has
Mhm.
before.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, I feel like everyone thinks I'm answering questions that people like response. I like have some up here. So this is where I'm coming from with these.
Mm-hmm.
But people are like, oh, I have to get a job the second I get out of college. I mean, like, yeah, financially, maybe you need to, but you don't like actually need to. Like, there's time to do other things and like figure life out or go travel or like, because again, you're still young.
No, absolutely. Like that's something I wish I did, honestly, like took a week or took a couple weeks right after I graduated and just, you know, got a one-way flight to Europe or wherever and
Hmm.
just kind of experience that. But yeah, like you said, I mean, you're only gonna, have that opportunity to, graduate and be 20 and have literally no responsibilities at all once in your life. But that being said, also, I think it's important to at least have something set up that you can feel comfortable with in the back
Right.
of your head because part of being okay mentally is like this feeling of stability, right? And I think like having something that's on paper or just even a position lined up that you can come back home to or whatever and jump into that and make some money, I think that's pretty important too.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And just like maximizing your opportunities while you can, because again, we're at a young age where we have a lot of opportunities and there's a lot of right now we're at like the max capacity of not max capacity, but we know so many more people just because
Mm-hmm.
college brings us up closer and we're still friends with like our high school friends. I mean, like some of us, I'm just talking me, but you have
Mm-hmm.
a lot of connections right then, more than
Absolutely.
you'll have more later, but you probably not as close.
No, yeah, and I think especially like being at a school where you're in a major, all your classes are people who pick that major, right? So
Mhm.
it's everyone who kind of wants to do the same thing, like not exactly, but like the same field. And then also on top of that, like your teachers are all like ex-professionals in that field, most likely. So like you
Mhm.
said, like you have so many networking opportunities like right at your fingers when you are in college, whether it be like high school friends, parents. Something I did was I don't know if I think using LinkedIn is very important. So if you don't use
Mhm.
LinkedIn, definitely make a LinkedIn account and just go crazy. Like I would literally search up like my high school friends' parents, added all of them, and you'd be surprised. Like I had a
Mhm.
couple parents from my hometown be like, "Hey Max, if you need a job after college, hit me up." And I already
Right.
had a job at that point, but like you never know, who's going to reach out to you. You truly never know. So
Mhm.
maximizing like the connections and people that put yourself in front of, I think it's super important because anything could happen.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, a lot of our friend group, some of them are out of college. They're looking for jobs. Some didn't even take the college route. They took a whole different path. Like there's
Hmm.
so many paths to being successful and it's not like one driven, dedicated, perfect path, like
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, like again, like being you and just kind of finding what's gonna make you excited to get up and do, what you were meant to do, I think
mhm,
is more important than what anyone would have to tell. Like you have to do this, like you have to be a doctor, you have to be a whatnot. So I think like you said, just kind of picking something that you truly enjoy doing, and it doesn't have to be the traditional 9 to 5 path.
exactly.
It's not like that anymore. It's much different.
It's so much more different with like social media and stuff. Like I'm like so focused in social media career And like
Mm-hmm.
back then that wasn't a thing. And you know, like, and I don't know where I'm going with this, but you know, it's the world is changing every minute.
No,
And
you're so right. I think 2023 is going to be the craziest year because you have these kids. I'm going to use TikTok as an example because like
okay.
I've seen so many people on TikTok that are our age make like magnitudes more money than
Mm-hmm.
like people who've been working their entire lives just using like an app and like social outreach and like using themselves as their brand, right? Like
Right. I mean, I feel like for social media, people like view it as all fun and games, but then like when I actually started doing this podcast and like working like with TikTok and whatever, it's a lot. Like it is
mhm.
like a full-time job, and like people don't realize that until they're actually in. Like not saying like I'm in it yet, but like what I do right now is so much and it takes so much time up, and like I can totally see how it's a job. Like it's definitely a full-time job.
No, it's literally a full-time job. Like you have these influencers with full like pack schedules. Like, what is
Mm-hmm.
it? Like brand deals, recording podcasts like yourself. Um,
Mm-hmm.
it's fully like a ton of work. Um,
Literally. But the life I'm manifesting for myself.
absolutely. And you got to start somewhere, right? It all circles
Yes.
back.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah. And then going back to traveling, you didn't have you didn't really have a summer, right? Because I saw you in the beginning, and then didn't you start your job like very quickly after college?
I lived at home. So I graduated in end of May, I think. And I started in July. January, March, April, May, June, July. So I had June. That was the only month that I had
That's
at home.
crazy.
Yeah, so I had a month at home just to kind of figure everything out
Yeah.
before I started.
Yeah.
Which was nuts. Honestly, I don't know, I feel like I wish I waited at home just to kind of make some more money and save up a little bit more. But
Yeah.
I think throwing yourself into the mix off the jump is the best thing that you can do.
Yeah.
That's another little piece of advice. But I mean, I think everything's a balance, right? Like whether like I break my life into mental, social, and fit and
Mm-hmm.
professional, like I said, and you kind of want to balance everything. For me, like my mental health is the most important. Like if your mental health's in check and you're feeling okay mentally, I think
Mm-hmm.
everything in your life will be like, magnitudes better than
Right.
if you're not like if you don't have your head on straight, right? So I think that's
Definitely.
something that I mean when you're navigating college and through like the ending of college, it's a roller coaster of emotions with like your friends and everything coming to a close and like trying to find a job. So if you can, maintain like a good, healthy mental health, I think then everything will fall into place and everything will
Mm-hmm.
come naturally.
Yeah. And just like take a minute to like take a break and reset.
Yeah, yeah, it's so important to give yourself a break and just truly believe that everything will kind of fall in line the way
Yeah.
it's supposed to.
Yeah. So for the people who are worried about post-grad life, what's the main piece of advice you have for them?
My main piece of advice is I think that leading with a positive attitude is the most important thing that you can do across like all aspects of your life. If you're putting out positive energy, right? I know it sounds like super like hippie, but if you're putting out like positive energy and everything that you do in your life, you're attacking with a positive mindset, then you're
Mm-hmm.
only going to feel better mentally. Your relationships are only going to be better and the quality of your work will only be better. So if you
Yeah.
can really foster like a positive mindset and attach that to everything that you're doing, I think everything will be, at least from my experience, everything falls into line
Mm-hmm.
so perfectly and all your worries kind of just fizzle away.
Well said. Well said. And then I feel like with like change and stuff, change is sticky, change is uncomfortable, but
Mm-hmm.
through all the change like we've had in the past, we look back and we're like, oh, it grew us out as a person. Oh, I ended up really liking that. Like it may not be butterflies and rainbows, that's the word, but it ends up being okay. And like you will be okay.
Yeah. And like, don't get me wrong. It's okay to feel like something's bugging you in the moment. Like it's okay. Your feelings are obviously validated in the moment. Like if you're worrying about something down the line, but I promise you, like you're gonna look back and be like, wow, everything did work out. And I'm so happy I was able to, relax and, just trust that everything would kind of fall into line.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, with that, thank you, Max, for coming on to the pod.
Hey, absolutely. I love this stuff. This is awesome.
I'm so glad
Thank you
we
for
had a little
having me.
fun. Of course, we had a little fun catch up. I haven't seen you in forever since your big job.
I know you're gonna have to, we're gonna have to get a group down and
I know. So I hope this advice helped you guys feel a little more at ease. I love doing episodes like these, so send DMs my way with topic ideas and, hey, maybe even some guests you want to see on or hear on. So with that, I love you all and thank you for listening. And remember, stay looking on the bright side, and I promise you it'll serve you really well. And that's that. Bye.